While all eyes are on Tesla, X, and even XAI, Elon Musk may be quietly planning the super IPO of an even bigger company. James Altucher believes it could generate as much as 100 billion. And he has a secret backdoor way to profit from it before it goes public, which we're revealing right here in this teaser review for free. Now, if there was any doubt whatsoever, Elon's potential super IPO, as James terms it, is Starlink. And it's disrupting the internet. Now, for those who have only heard about Starlink, maybe in passing on the news, for offering free broadband services to those affected by Hurricanes Milton and Helene, or for providing high-speed, low-latency Wi-Fi on commercial flights, it is much more than that. In simple terms, Starlink is a satellite internet provider that can connect everyone worldwide to high-speed internet without requiring towers, cables, or any traditional broadband infrastructure. From this standpoint, it's a level of innovation that could surpass that of Tesla or anything else Musk has previously done. For us as investors, new technology making old ones obsolete presents a massive opportunity. All we have to do is look back at what the introduction of the internet did for early investors as an example of what could be. Now take AOL. After AOL introduced dial-up internet to the masses, its stock soared by 81,000% in only 7 years. That's enough to turn about a $1,000 stake into a cool 800 grand. And the same thing happened when broadband internet was introduced throughout the country via Comcast. Comcast investors made out slightly worse, 46,000% over a longer time frame, but no joke nonetheless. Now, as we can see, when the internet takes a huge leap forward, money is minted, and Starlink is the next iteration of the internet. James says he has a backdoor way to play it. And of course, this backdoor way to get into Starlink before a potential IPO is only revealed in James's newest special report called The Number One Backdoor Starlink Play to Buy Now. And it can be ours if we subscribe to Altucher's investment network for a 1-year subscription that costs $49 for a limited time. So why is James so sure that Starlink is secretly or quietly planning an IPO? Well, his findings hinge on a close contact who attended a so-called closed-door meeting in Washington, D.C. with Elon Musk and others that was never reported to the press. Now, it all sounds a bit sketchy, but let's look at the evidence before passing judgment here. Now, Exhibit A is Elon's own tweet from back in 2021. And in that tweet, he mentioned that as soon as Starlink's cash flow is reasonably predictable, it will IPO. And this past winter, he actually followed this up with news that Starlink has achieved break-even cash flow. A definite sign that an IPO could be coming. But what else does James have? Let's take a look at Exhibit B. And that is more so to do with Elon's liquidity. Now, Musk is, on paper, the world's richest person with a net worth above 300 billion. However, nearly all of that is tied up in stock in his various companies. And Tesla is the only one that is public, giving him a certain degree of liquidity. This gives Musk a reason to spin off Starlink into an IPO, as he'd be able to sell some shares and potentially free up billions of dollars in cash. James thinks it's a no-brainer, and let's see what else. On to Exhibit C, and this is a Bloomberg report. Now, this report is a bit dated, as it is from last year. However, Bloomberg essentially said in the article, which is behind the paywall here, that Starlink could IPO as soon as 2024. Now, with just a month and change left in the year, we know that's probably not going to happen. However, he could, and I should add, that Musk also came out and denied the news in this report. However, he could just be refuting the timing, and an IPO could be coming later on in 2025 or 2026, as some believe. Only time will tell. Nonetheless, Starlink remains an interesting potential investment. So, what is the backdoor way to get in on it early? Let's take a look at the clues that James offered up, which we've gathered over on Stock Exposure. Now, this is what James left for us in his teaser, and that is that the Starlink device contains a special antenna built using parts from one small off-the-radar company we can invest in now. Several years ago, they became a major supplier of Starlink, agreeing to manufacture 1 million terminals for $2,400 a pop. We also know it is the only company in the world that can make these components, or so James tells us. Finally, Elon Musk has called its parts one of the most sophisticated pieces of electronics he'd ever seen. And that last clue was telling. So, what is James Altucher's number one backdoor Starlink play? Well, all signs on the Magic 8 Ball point to this being STM Electronics NV. That's STM on the NYSE. And the clues all line up like a star constellation. As we take a look at a chart of STM here, Elon's SpaceX signed an agreement just a few years back with STM to manufacture its user terminals for 2,400 pop. And I'm just going to pull up the release for this. And there we go. And we can go to STM right here in the release. And we can see that they contracted to manufacture Starlink's user terminals. Now, up next, STM Electronics is only one, or I should say, is only one of a few large public companies that works with clients to custom design and build semiconductor chips and other products. So James is partly right about being the only one that can make such components. And finally, Elon did call Starlink's user terminal one of the most sophisticated pieces of electronics that he'd ever heard about. And if we take this and we do a search for it, we will see the source of that quote. And it's mainly Reddit results on Google. Why am I not surprised? Nonetheless, could STM, as crazy as it sounds, be bigger than both PayPal and Tesla combined, as James alludes to in his teaser? Now, as I mentioned, James says in his teaser that STM could be bigger than PayPal and Tesla combined. Or he even adds in Twitter as well, or X. So, why is James so high on STM? Well, for reference, STM is a niche business. So, unlike a Tesla or a PayPal, which are consumer-facing businesses, STM makes chips and other components for non-computer applications. And it also has some serious competition from the likes of ON and Infineon. But with that said, even though I don't see STM stock skyrocketing 5,000% or more anytime soon, it still could be a good investment nonetheless. Here's why I think so. The business is currently generating about $1 billion every quarter in income. And it's being heavily invested back into production. It has twice as much cash, $6.3 billion, as debt, and it pays regular dividends to shareholders, along with the occasional share buyback, which is always welcome and appreciated. Now, as a Swiss company, STM, primarily listed in France, it will always trade lower than its American counterparts. It's like an unwritten law of finance, as I mentioned on stock exposure. And its current PE reflects that. It's only 12 times. But that just means it has a bit of room to run. Now, overall, STM makes products for which demand is growing. It is conservatively financed, and it is selling for an attractive valuation. This makes it a good multi-bagger candidate over the long term. So just to quickly recap and conclude everything we just covered, James Altucher is teasing a super IPO, which he believes could generate as much as 100 billion in proceeds. And he has a secret backdoor way to profit from it before it goes public. Of course, as we learned, James is talking about Elon Musk's Starlink, which may be quietly laying the groundwork for an IPO. And one key supplier stock is the way to get in on it early. Now, the stock is only revealed in James's newest special report called Elon's Super IPO, the number one backdoor Starlink play to buy now. And to claim it, all we need is a risk-free trial to Altucher's investment network, which runs for $49 for the first year. Fortunately, if you watch this video, we revealed James's backdoor Starlink play for free right here as STM Electronics, and that's STM on the NYSE, which is its American depository receipt. Now, STM is a growing business. It's making an in-demand product. It's selling for a low absolute valuation. All of this combined means multi-bagger potential. So if you got absolutely anything out of this video whatsoever, hit the like, hit the subscribe buttons, and let us know down in the comments if you believe STM is the best way to play a potential Starlink IPO. Until next time.